WSTU Digital 1450. The opinions expressed are those of the program hosts and guests. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time now for the Martin County Difference with your host, dancing realtor Julie.
Good evening, everybody. Hi there, it's Julia Sansevere, and this is the Martin County Difference, and it is September 27th. It's a Wednesday night, and so thank you for joining us on Facebook and on the radio and on the internet, WSTUTV.com. We have quite the gang in the studio tonight, and you might notice some shiny things there, you know, blocking the view. Nice shiny things. We like shiny things. So just wanted to welcome everybody, and just real quickly before I introduce everybody, I'm a realtor here with Coldwell Banker on the Treasure Coast. We're in downtown Stuart at WSTU. This is a fun little talk show with a heart where I speak with people who are making a difference in our community to make this world a better place for all of us, and we're spreading positivity, and the folks in the studio are doing that certainly tonight throughout the show. So first we're going to celebrate the big night that we had Saturday night with Dancing with the Martin Stars for Healthy Start Coalition. We've got some trophies in the house. We've got some incredible dancers in the house and some incredible fundraisers in the house. So I'm going to jump right into it. Right on my right here is Dr. Brian Moriarty. Hello.
Hello, Julia Sansevere.
Okay, I'm right here.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're excited. Well, you should be. You've got this huge trophy in front of you. And what did you win that for?
That was the overall champion of Dancing with the Martin Stars.
All the echoing.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Awesome.
And to your right is Jean Laws Scott. And Jean, hello, good evening.
Well, good evening, Miss Julia. How are you tonight?
I am still in shock over how fast you can dance. I looked back at a video and I thought, that's in fast motion, right? So it was, you were doing it.
I was doing it.
And you did a great job. Now, I'm loaning you mine. We'll talk about
Thank
this in a
you,
minute.
because
you forgot to bring
I
yours.
omitted my.
That's okay.
My,
but you got one. It's a little bigger than that,
my
actually.
trophy.
But that'll be yours.
Yes, but it was such a spectacular evening. Just wonderful.
You had a good
great
time?
Had an amazing
You looked
time.
like you were having a blast.
I did.
And everybody in the crowd was so thrilled.
You know, the crowd was spectacular.
Yeah.
They were so supportive of every one of the dancers, and that's what we all needed. We needed that support.
Yeah, and you're really hustling out there. I mean, doing it all year long, all summer long, practicing. It's really nice that you get that one glorious moment in the limelight, and everybody was thrilled and shouting and standing ovations, I think, for a few people here.
Yes.
And last but not least, Teena White is the president of the board of Healthy Start Coalition for Martin County. Hi, Teena.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Martin County.
Hello, Martin County, that's right. And who do we have with us tonight in the back?
My son, Ross White,
Hi, Ross.
who
You
will
go in.
he'll
Hey,
be 11
Ross.
tomorrow.
11 tomorrow. Happy birthday,
Happy
Ross.
birthday.
You too was a dancer once on the Dance with the Martin
Oh
Stars.
my
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
Oh my goodness. How wonderful.
2014.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Wow, starting them out young. Yeah. Well, thanks to Teena, I was on the junior league board. I did this, and that's back to the show.
Yeah.
This is how the show got started. Last year with Dancing with the Martin Stars to raise money because we dance for babies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Martin County babies.
That's right, to make sure they're born healthy.
That's right.
And we've got a lot of healthy babies now, thanks to our efforts, I think. And so I danced, and so I'm just going to borrow this back.
Oh.
This is for runner-up for top fundraiser that I received for last year's efforts. I raised over $38,000. Hoorah!
Hoorah!
Yeah, and then Rosie, this is for Rosie, this is a shout out to Rosie Shepherd. She was the runner-up this
That's
year,
right.
And she couldn't be here tonight, so hi Rosie!
Hi, Rosie.
Hi, Rosie.
Congratulations.
And she's saying, she's there, she's on Facebook, she says, such an awesome bunch.
Rosie.
And love your hearts for our amazing community. And Lisa Holland is saying hi, and Aubrey's
Lisa.
on.
Hey, Lisa and Aubrey, hello.
Lisa and Aubrey, oh my gosh, they were our chairs, and they were just phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, they were so supportive of everything that we were doing.
Complete champions for this event. And Aubrey is 5.5 months pregnant.
That's right. And
She
she
started
always
out-
wore a smile.
She was 3.5 months when it started. She just kept growing. And so she's a little exhausted right now. She told me she couldn't make it here tonight, so I'm sorry, Aubrey, we really miss you. But she's been working 12-hour days for like weeks and weeks on end. So thank you so much, Aubrey. Thank you, Lisa Holland, for all you did to chair the event. It was a big success. It was at the Lyric Theater. If you don't know by now, if you haven't tuned in, I guess, you've been living under a rock.
Yeah.
And it's one of the biggest events of the season here in Martin County. And it's a gala, and there's a cocktail hour for the sponsors beforehand. And just like last year, there were only the male dancers out there, I noticed, because those are the ones who don't have to worry about their hair and makeup. I think I saw you out there. You gave me a hug, didn't you?
Yeah, of
Bobby?
course,
Yeah.
of course.
Right.
I was out there.
You were out there?
I was out there
Because
till
you had the
our
most
appointed
confidence.
time. Our appointed time at 6:15, we had to go backstage.
Yeah,
but
well,
I was
yeah.
there up until that point.
I was there till 6:20, just so you know.
Okay. Wow. Well, I was unable to have that calm, cool, collected spirit before the show last year. But I was backstage and I was doing FaceTime Live, or Facebook Live, and we were doing, it was like, we're at the Emmys, we're backstage at the Tonys, no, we're at Dancing with the Martin Star. And it was so much fun. And Troy, who's going to be here on the second half of the show, Troy McDonald, our mayor, we were in the show last year together. And that was so much fun. So we were hanging out at the backstage door like, oh, that was so cool. But it was so much fun. And Tina, tell us how this all began.
Well, it began by trying to find a fundraiser. It wasn't our original idea, I have to say. Indian River Healthy Start was first to do it, and they were quite successful with it. Palm Beach Healthy Start also did it as well and was very successful with it. So we thought we'd give it a try, and we're happy with it.
Well, it's very well done. It is a lot of fun because being in it 1 year last year, then being able to sit in the front row, and by the way, thank you Aubrey and Tina, whoever arranged my seat, front row center, thank you, that was nice. So it's a completely different thing. I mean, you can hear the shouts and screams from backstage, but when you're out there in the audience, then, you know, I was a little bit more relaxed, and seeing everybody was just exciting. And this year I noticed a lot more props. We had the scientist, the mad scientist.
Oh, Randy. Randy
Randy,
was awesome.
Randy. Yeah, hi, Randy. I know
Hi,
you're
Randy.
listening.
Randy, you're awesome.
Randy was awesome as the mad scientist. And then we had Kirk with his bicycle.
Oh
'cause
my
he's a
gosh. Hey,
bicyclist.
Kirk, how are you?
That was so
Kirk
funny.
That was so
Yeah.
fun.
And then, who was the third that had props? Did you have props? What did you have?
No, I didn't have any props.
I
just
had my
sheer
chair.
dancing
You had your
ability.
chair.
I had my
Right.
chair.
Yeah.
Sheer dancing ability, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys rocked it. I mean, every single couple was excellent in so many different styles of dance. And guys out there on the radio listening, if you don't know, except for Jean maybe, you know, nobody knows how to dance except for the instructors. And Jean, yeah, you got fit and trim. I noticed you must have dropped, what, 50 pounds?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I've got to give my instructor, Greg DeLecca. I mean, he was just amazing. And there was times that Greg would just say, do it again, do it again. And he's
Yeah.
Polish and has a very thick
Yes,
accent.
yes.
But he was great. He was so funny. And it's because my husband's name is Greg, so I was just yelling Greg,
Yeah.
Greg all the time. Like, Greg, really? So
That was easy.
it was. It
He is
really
your
was.
husband at the dance studio.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And we used his dance studio last year, and one time there was a little dance, and he spun me around the room, and I'm like, whoa, he's very good leader, but I loved what he said to you. Nope, you led, Jean.
But Julie, I also want to thank our volunteers. You had some
Yes.
amazing volunteers. I
Yes.
mean, between Kathleen Snore and Lisa Kiefer, as
Yeah.
well as Sean
Oh, yeah,
Kelly,
Lisa.
they were so.
We love you, Sean
I mean, they would
Kelly.
come.
Yeah,
They would
and
come
Sean's
to our
on.
functions. So, you know, thank you
Yes.
so much. You know, for just
Stacy
to see
had
those
right there.
smiles that
Yeah.
said, "You can do it. You can do it." Especially for the fundraising. Brian, you were so amazing. So amazing at fundraising, and I was so intimidated.
Yes, now how much did you raise?
About nearly $30,000.
Yes.
Awesome!
Awesome.
That's great. See, that I think I missed hearing it, or it didn't get announced. They said who got the most, but I'd love to know the numbers. I think that's great. But they did the total number.
Well, and as a cast, we raised over $142,000, and that's what it's all about with Healthy Start.
Yeah.
We're raising money for pregnant moms and babies.
Right.
We're trying to make a difference here in Martin County. So yeah, the dancing was great. Gene was unbelievable. Obviously, we
Yeah.
standing ovation
And there's,
everywhere.
if you can
but
go, put
it's-
that on YouTube.
Yeah.
You gotta put that on YouTube.
But it's all about
It's
it's
all
all
about
about the
the
babies.
babies.
The
It
babies,
is.
yeah.
It
Give
And
them a
it-
healthy start.
And I tell you what, it's about the experience itself, because out of that time, it's a little seed. It never stops producing. And the people I met last year, I keep running into more people who either knew me from that or, you know, like Marianella, right? She was the dance instructor for John Gonzalez. And I didn't get to know her really well. We were talking about it out in the green room, is that you don't get to see each other as much as you'd like until the very end. And so then you're like, oh, yeah,
Yes.
nice to know you.
Right, right.
And so, if there's anything that could be improved, it would be that. But there's just no time because we're all working
We're all
like
working,
dogs.
and
Yeah.
exactly.
But at the end of it all, Marianella teaches a dance class on Saturdays, and I found out about it through Rosie, who is a friend of mine from, you know, before with real estate. And so I'm going up there on Saturdays, and I had the biggest hug with her last week, and just tears in my eyes and saying, I am so grateful that I got to know you. Now I can appreciate it more. And she's really such a spirit, such a beautiful spirit. And she doesn't have a problem with that I have 2 left feet. It's
Right.
great.
Right.
And so I feel great about that, you know. And how did you do with the fundraising?
I did well. It's so fun. I have to tell the story. Lisa and Aubrey both came to me probably in the beginning of August, and they said, Jean, you're doing really great with your dancing, but you're dead last with your fundraising. And I mean, I had deer in the headlights, and I said, I had a goal. My goal was, if I raise anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000, I'll be thankful.
Yeah.
So I ended up raising $14,300 and
That's
some odd
great.
dollars. I was
That's great.
thrilled. I was just thrilled.
Yeah.
And so, at least I wasn't last anymore.
Yes.
So, but I have to give it to our group. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Everybody raised over $10,000.
Everybody, and that was the
That's
first time
fantastic.
that's ever
Ever
happened.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there wasn't that stray that
Yeah.
had like a
Right.
So it
The
was
the slacker.
right, and that's what when you were talking about bonding. Those 2 days between
Yeah.
the dress rehearsal and that final night. I mean, not only did the stars come together, but just getting to know their dancers, and
Yeah.
I mean, you become a family, instantly.
Well, it is something. It's a wonderful. It's a fraternity because it goes on, and so you were the cast of 2017 now,
Right.
and I'm in the cast of 2016, and it's a badge of honor. I'm really honored that
Yes.
I was
Yes.
selected because many people apply. Not everyone is selected.
That's true.
So I want to thank Martin County Healthy Start Coalition for starting my radio career. I mean, you never know what's going to come out of it. And I did it to raise money because, there were people out there who were already like way ahead, like from the get-go.
Right.
And one of them produced a video, and it got like over 1,000 hits like right
my
away.
goodness.
Yes, that was Helen. Hi, Helen. Are you out there? Well, Helen doesn't know, but she really inspired me. So I was like, I've got to do something. So I came up with the idea of a radio show, and I walked into Scott Berry, and I said, Scott, I know what I'm going to do to raise money. He goes, what? Just like calm. He goes, I'm going to have a radio show. And he goes, what? He's looked at me like, okay, right, sure. But you know what? It's turned into something wonderful for the community. It was all for Dancing with the Martin Stars first, but it's branched out, and that's what this is about. And we're talking about all kinds of things with all kinds of organizations who come on the show to talk about what they're up to, and it's all volunteer.
Right.
And which is so nice, and it's grassroots a lot of times. I mean,
And like we had Rena with
Rena,
Elevate Hope.
who
yes.
you're on the board
Yes,
with.
we're
Hi,
on the
is
board.
Rena
Hi,
out there?
Rena.
Sean Kelly's there, Randy
We
Pennington.
love Sean Kelly.
Oh,
Randy
says he cannot see. The glow of Brian's trophy is too
Oh,
bright.
I'm sorry. Can I move over, Randy? Randy,
Move it over.
Put those sunglasses
Randy
on,
rocked
Randy.
it out.
Yeah, put those mad
He's
scientist
awesome.
glasses back on.
And Dave Gizerick's joined.
Oh,
we've got
Rainbow
a lot of
Dave.
great people. Laura Moriarty is on.
Oh, my wife.
wow.
Your
Can I,
wife? She's
Julia,
loyal.
Julia,
Yes.
can I take a moment
Yes.
and thank my wife wife.
Yes.
We were practicing for
She's-
4 months,
She's giving stars.
2 to 3 times a week.
Yes.
Okay, and she took care of the kids, and she took care of the office, and she took care of everything.
Doesn't she do that every day?
Yes, but really, Laura Moriarty, thank you. I
Aw.
love you so much for
Yeah.
everything, for letting me have this experience. It truly blessed my heart. Thank you, Laura,
Aw.
and thank you to my kids.
That is so sweet. That is the truth. You know, the spouse in the house
Right.
is the one that carries, that should get the, there should be another trophy, the spouse trophy. You know? And how was your Greg?
Oh, my Greg was amazing. My Greg was, okay, when's the dance class? When am I cooking dinner?
Aw.
This is when you're cooking dinner. And then the girls, they were so supportive and so supportive and a little bit critical. Mom, you need to point your toes. I mean, what are you doing? You know, because my daughters, I have twin daughters that are Irish dancers, so they became my critiques. You know, when I was trying to practice in the mirror, and they were like, "You just got to step it up, Mom. Step it up." So, for them and my daughter Chandler, I want to thank them and just
I know
for
they're
their
so
support.
proud.
Oh, they were.
They're so
they
proud
were
of you.
so proud.
That's so cool. That is really, really good. And I had family come all the way from Texas.
Wow.
Last year. Yeah. So that made me feel good.
That's
so
great.
that is the nice thing, that you feel the love around you, the support, and that you're not alone out there. And it's just, it's one of those things that sears into your brain. The first number, you come out there, all 10 of you, you know, or whatever, 8 of you.
Yes.
Yeah, and we were all high-fiving backstage, you know, like Randy lit off the show, and he was amazing, and we were like huddling up,
Exactly.
and it was like I'm gonna be friends with Gene for life,
Right.
and with Randy, and with everybody from the cast,
Yeah.
like we're gonna run into each other and be like,
Exactly.
that
Remember,
one night.
remember.
I mean, that was one of the greatest, other than,
Right?
you know, my wedding night and the birth of my kids, that was one of the greatest nights of my life.
Isn't
I
that
mean, it was
nice?
amazing.
Tina, how does that make you feel, Tina?
No words. No
Yeah.
words, honestly.
It's a
It
good
was
feeling
amazing.
going all around. And
And-
you know what? Joseph Connolly says, Dr. Brian. I have to give a
Joe's
shout
one of
out
my
to
sponsors, Recovery Insurance Adjusters.
Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, I got to give a shout out to Joe because I'm a realtor with Martin County Association of Realtors, right? Joe just recently won our Affiliate of the Year.
Wow.
Congratulations,
Joe,
Joe.
Joe
Congratulations. That's
Connolly.
really
Thank
great.
you. Yeah, that's congratulations to for sure because that's about 1,000 realtors putting somebody's name up.
Wow.
So Dave Gibserick saying, great job, guys, and Aubrey saying she loves hearing all of this.
We love Aubrey.
We love
Aubrey,
Yes, we
you're an
do.
amazing, amazing woman. Thank
And-
you for your tireless effort helping stars like me and Jean.
Yep.
She's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Jean. Everybody's got to go get to Facebook and see if you can see Jean's dance.
See
It was
Jean's dance. Wow.
spectacular.
She was
It was
unbelievable.
as shiny and bright as that little.
Our only 310s of the season,
That's,
too.
oh wow! Well,
Yes.
a shout out to all of our other dancers. I mean, we've obviously
yeah.
talked about Randy, but to Liz and
Yes.
Yes.
Misty.
Liz Bishop,
Yeah.
Misty Moody was here last week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
John
and
Gonzalez.
John Gonzalez, he's my
yes,
buddy, and
yes,
Rosie
yes.
Shepherd, and Kirk.
Kirk, and
and
who else?
Let's see.
Is that
I
everybody?
think we got everybody,
Are we-
but just
Yeah.
a shout out to everybody because they, like you said, we just all bonded and
We
came
love them.
together and we just, really, it was one love,
Yeah,
which was
absolutely.
wonderful.
That's
Absolutely
a good way
wonderful.
to say it. That's a
Yeah.
good way to say it. And Scott had some good facts and figures last year, which were astounding because it's how many mothers you're helping.
That's
And how
right.
many babies you're
That's
helping.
right.
And just a little bit goes a long way. The program was really well done. All the sponsors get an ad in there. So think about it next year, folks. If, you're bound to know at least one of the dancers
Exactly.
because they get the top people in the community, our stars of our local community. And again, Liz Bishop, John Gonzalez, Jean Laws Scott, Misty Moody, Dr. Brian Moriarty, Randy Pennington, Rosie Shepherd, and Kirk Wilsterman. You all rocked it on Saturday night, and I commend you. I think that Martin County Healthy Start Coalition has found a perfect little gem, a jewel to shine brighter and brighter each year. And the judges were great this year. The other dance partners, the instructors were amazing. And you guys, it's a happening. And also, there are still some tickets left. Usually you just don't know. It's looks like it's sold out, but sometimes you can squeeze in. I encourage you to come no matter what. Come to the box office the next year. It's just so much fun.
It really is.
Yeah, shout out to my partner Holly. I haven't mentioned her yet.
Oh,
Holly
yes.
Pearl,
Holly.
the first female winner in Dancing with the Stars history out of the instructors.
Really?
Wow.
Yes, because I was the first male winner
Yes.
in 7 years. at
Wow,
Dancing with the Stars.
congratulations.
Oh, well, Holly she got a perfect 10 last year with
With Jeff Teach.
Jeff Teach,
Jeff Teach, my
right.
buddy. Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. We're gonna take a little break and bring our other guests, and I want to thank you again for coming.
Thank you so much for having us,
Absolutely.
Julie.
Thank you for doing what
We
you do
appreciate it.
to make a
Yes.
difference. And yes, there's a finger up over
Can
here.
I say one quick thing?
Yes, hang on.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
if there's anyone listening out there tonight that thinks they might want to dance next year with Dancing with the Martin Stars, please contact Martin County Healthy Start. We'll start taking applications again in the beginning of the new year.
There you go. This is our own Martin County's Got Talent.
Yes.
Go Martin County. And
Thank
also
you, Dr.
our
White, for everything that you do. Too.
Definitely.
Yes,
Dr. White, she's
yes.
And there are
Dr.
people that
Teena
are
White,
inquiring.
that's right.
There's
Yes.
people that are inquiring about how do I do that. So
Yeah.
we're gonna
Yeah.
have a lot of
So
applications.
Tough choices.
mchealthystart.org, and there's a phone number and everything, and you can look on Facebook and give them a message. And Lisa Holland is loving the video. She's
We love
loving this.
Lisa
We love
Holland.
Lisa, I couldn't
Lisa.
have done it without
Lisa,
you.
you're amazing.
And
Thank you.
Rosie Shepherd's on. She was my very first sponsor, so I was her very first sponsor. So love you, Rosie.
And Rosie, you've
Hi,
got a heart
Rosie.
of gold.
This
We
is
love
for
you,
you.
Rosie.
Love you.
This is a love fest.
It is.
And
It
Betty
really
and
is.
Algie, everyone involved are heroes for our community. Sean Kelly, yep.
Yay, Sean.
Sean Kelly, Randy Pennington, Terry Molka is one of my
Oh,
sponsors.
Terry Monka, we
Yep.
love her.
And I want to thank all my sponsors. I will
Yeah.
be getting personal thank you cards, but I just want to thank you because I could not have done it without you. Whether it was $1 or 1,000, I mean, I just really appreciate everything that you guys did.
Yeah, and my money that I raised was all small. Like, everything was a bunch of small things.
Yeah.
So, thanks to all my sponsors. Thanks to the Florida Chiropractic Society, which was my biggest sponsor at $2,500. But everything was just little. It takes a village in this community. But what an outpouring of love.
Right.
Yes.
You
I
know,
call it
for
the
babies.
grassroots campaign for Martin.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the
Yes.
community we live in.
That
So,
is.
so
And thank
blessed.
you, Terry Molka, for your sponsorship of this show. I'm going to tell everybody about you and you for the hearts coming across the screen. But also, I'm still writing thank you notes, so just know you got to do at least 5 a day.
All right.
A year later, because
Right.
I had the little ones too. I had all kinds.
Right.
I had $25. I had $5. I had
Everything.
$100.
Yep,
And you know what? It all adds
Adds up.
it does.
And
It
so,
does.
It's amazing.
congratulations for your sum total for everybody.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for stopping in and dance on out of here now. And we're
Yeah.
going to have another group come in regarding the hurricanes, and I'm going to talk about my sponsors. So thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you,
Thank
Julia.
you. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Julia. We
Teena.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yes, and go to mchealthystart.org.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Mwah.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So, hey, everybody. Thanks, Tina. Good night.
Thanks, Dr.
You
Happy
know, we've
birthday.
had,
Thank you.
thanks for all the likes and the hearts. And
Thanks,
remember to
Frank.
share this show. It's on YouTube. Look here, there he goes with his big ball. I mean, well, that sounds bad. This show is on Facebook. It's on its own page and group. And now we have the magic. The little thing comes over here. Thanks for all the likes. It's on iTunes as a podcast, all by the same name, The Martin County Difference. And I want to thank Gary Molka. They are wonderful. Gary and Terry Molka of TC Palm Home Inspections. Their number is 772-678-8133. And check out their website at tcpalmhomeinspections.com. Getting a home inspection isn't so scary when you use Inspector Gary. And you know, here's the thing, they sponsored me. They were one of the first to step up after Rosie did. I was like, you will? You know, so they got 2 tickets and they got to come to the sponsor party and they were guaranteed beautiful seats down in the orchestra.
Yeah.
So I can't thank them enough. And now they continue to sponsor me and lift this show up. And the people who come on this show who make a difference in the community, and that's how they're making a difference, is sponsoring the show. So thank you very much.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's so cool. And my website is juliasansevere.com, so I'm not going to belabor you with listings and things like that. I just wanted to let you know that's where you can go to find out about great deals out there that I've got. Also great articles on my Florida waterfront page. It's Julia Sansevere, Florida Waterfront Specialist. And just the next thing we're doing is the Operation Keys to Recover right here in the studio. You know, this past weekend we had some really good Samaritans go down to the Keys from a couple of different avenues. They all ended up getting down there together. Operation Keys to Recover was a grassroots organization started, not an organization so much, but, you know, a movement.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
movement.
a movement. Say, let's move, you know, supplies down that way. And our mayor of Stuart, Troy McDonald, did that with his wife, Portia Scott, who's an attorney. Everybody on Facebook quickly put stuff over there at her office. John Layton helped fly the plane, and Alex Behringer, donated, I think, his hangar or
His office.
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
So they did that, and they flew down there. Then they drove down last weekend with also
A truckload.
big truckload
Yeah.
from, thank goodness, Jenkins Landscaping, from our
Right.
Martin County Commissioner Harold Jenkins.
Right.
Thank you, Harold. And they just got back from the Keys, and another friend of mine too, Caroline Barca, the Realtor Association of Martin County, Habitat for Humanity, all these different organizations pulled together along with Troy's group and got supplies and went down there with a group of people. 4 realtors from my association spoke on Tuesday. Caroline Barca went, Deborah Duvall, Bill Dean, and Dan Brady, and I cannot thank them enough for physically going there. The people were so grateful to see somebody show up to help them sift through the rubble, because that's basically what they did. They were all moved to an emotional state when they were trying to retell us about this.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so I would love for Troy to come on in, and if Caroline's here, have her come in with him. We need to spend this time together. Hi, Troy, come on in. Oh, Caroline, you made it. Good, good, good. Hop on in and put your headsets on. And we can put the Mirrorball trophy away for now. Oh, look, Troy, look. Ah.
This is the trophy I did
Wait a
not.
minute.
This is the trophy I did not get.
Well, you know what, it's all for a good cause.
I was.
It was so much fun, and Caroline was one of my sponsors last year, thank you, so yay. Well, so Caroline Barca is here in Martin County in Stuart. You're a realtor, that's how we got to know each other. You're with Berkshire Hathaway, and you have about as big a heart as anybody I've ever met.
Thank you, Julia. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, and so you went down to the Keys as well as Troy went down this past week. And Troy is our mayor of Stuart. If you don't know by now, you're living under a rock. And thank you, Troy, for coming back tonight to share with us what your experience was. And
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, so one thing I just wanted to get to Caroline. Ladies first, I guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Caroline, you went down there, you took some video. It's on your Facebook page. And
Yes.
everything. Yeah, and you took your son.
I did. So on Friday, we have our annual Realtor Association luncheon where we have the,
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's
I was
right.
there.
okay,
Yeah,
so,
sorry.
so much time's gone by
I
since.
know, it feels like hurricane brain.
Yeah, and we had the installation of our officers.
Right,
And,
and
they-
awards.
And awards.
That's
and
where
what have
Joe
you.
Connolly won.
Correct,
Right,
correct.
right.
And it was afternoon, and they said, hey, we're going to put together a group last minute of realtors from Martin County
Mhm.
to go help realtors in the Keys whose homes were devastated, destroyed, or just plain old needed help after Hurricane Irma had struck.
Right.
And they said, we need a group, we want to put them together, we're going to leave on Saturday morning and come back on Sunday. And I'm sitting there at the lunch, and I looked at my day planner, and I saw to myself, okay, I don't have but one appointment that I can change.
Mm.
So I said, I'll go. And I'm
Wow.
going to take my 16-year-old with me, because I knew he'd want to go. I mean, why not go to the Keys? He thinks
Right.
He thought he was going fishing.
Yeah, he did.
You bring your snorkel and.
he didn't bring a fishing pole. He knew better this time. But so we decided to go, and I didn't know who I was going to go with or what we were going to do. I just knew I was going, and we decided to wake up early Saturday morning. We met at the hotel. We didn't even check in. We didn't even know if we were going to have a hotel. And then we all caravanned to the first home. Debbie Duvall, oh, God bless her, she did such an amazing job in organizing us and finding what homes we needed to go to first. And the first home we went to was a woman, 75, and during the storms, or just before, during the storms, her husband started having strokes.
Oh, God.
In addition to her daughter, who lived next door. Both homes had one home had a lot of damage, her daughter's home, and then the woman's home was destroyed. So we got there, and we were very quiet. Also, we're talking and chatting, and we get there, and it was silence. The home was just completely destroyed and gone, all of her possessions. She was just hoping we could salvage just anything that was hers, and it was a nice kind of a humble home, and I was very proud of my 16-year-old son. He walked in through all the dangerous debris because it had sort of collapsed in the middle, forming a V, if that makes any sense. And he was able to help find her passport and her social security card and birth certificate and things you need. So
Yeah.
we were glad to be there to help, but it was definitely very, very sobering.
That's what came across on Tuesday at our marketing meeting, that 2 men who are not emotional types were very emotional about it. And Debbie, who I've never seen her crack for anything, it deeply affected her. She could barely get through her statement. So I think that's important to realize, and I know Troy, you probably had the same experience. It's an overwhelming situation down there. It's gonna take a long time.
Well, Big Pine Key, where we primarily worked, I will say, to me, it seems to be made up of primarily homeowners, not
Mhm.
people with a second home.
Okay.
People who use that as their primary everyday residence.
Mhm.
That's what I saw, and it had the most destruction. So these are not people that have lost a second home or an investment home. We're talking, these are people's, everyday homes. And it was just, the devastation was extensive. It's not like people just needed roofs, it was a lot more
Well, it's what you
extensive than
said,
that.
going down the road, it looked like snowdrifts.
That's right. It was like seeing all the way along the Keys. It was like what we would see as a snowbank up north, only just a bank of debris and piles of people's belongings and pieces of their home, all piled up high,
Yeah.
very high.
Yeah, like 6 feet and more.
Oh,
7, 8, 10 feet?
50 feet.
50 feet.
I mean, really, there was one pile, I think it was right near the Marathon Airport that was 35 feet high of debris.
Oh my God.
It
it's
was,
on my Facebook.
yeah, I thought, I
It's
saw.
by Captain Pips, yes.
Yeah, it was there was,
It looked like a landfill.
it did, it looked like a landfill, but then there was things that every so often there'd just be random cars that were damaged in the storm that hadn't been collected yet, or there was one area where they were stacking up appliances, and there was a 1/4 mile long section of the road that was stacked 2, 3, 4 deep of refrigerators, freezers, ice, washers, dryers,
Yeah, the
dishwashers,
appliances, everything.
all that kind of stuff, and they were I guess they were marshaling some of that stuff to that
Yeah.
location, maybe for the purpose of recycling them, I'm not sure, but it was,
Stunning.
stunning is,
Right.
is not an adequate word, for it, but, I just wanna say something, we're talking about what Caroline
Yeah.
and Deb Duvall and Dan Brady and others did. We delivered, me and my group delivered
Yeah,
some
tell us
supplies
about that.
down, but these guys, they're the ones that really need to be commended. They went down there for the weekend. They were the ones getting their hands dirty, going through rubble. Like her, she talked about her son going through kind of the dangerous stuff.
Right.
That's not the stuff that we did. We did a lot of driving, and we did a lot of organizing. What these guys did really were affecting lives on the one-on-one basis of people that needed help that instant, and as their lives they're feeling like their lives are falling apart and they're not seeing a future, here comes some folks like Caroline and Deb and Dan coming down and saying, we're here for you and we're going to help you out. And I can't imagine how much that must have really helped them feel a little bit better.
I think so. I think when people show up for you, that speaks incredible volumes. But what you did too is it's all part of it. It's just like when you said every bit adds up. For every dollar that's given, for every hand that's extended. Bill Dean said he took his rake. He goes, I needed a backhoe. It's a tremendous undertaking. And now, we seem to can't recover from Harvey before we have Irma. Then we have Maria, Jose in between. And now an earthquake in Mexico, and it's like, where does it end? So we just have to take care of each other, that's all, and we get through this together.
It is, and we will, and I think that, the main thing that I'm gonna take away from this, that I personally am gonna take away and put into my memories is how when there was a need, our community stepped up. I will tell you that the amount of people that came and dropped off hurricane supplies, when we filled a 24-foot truck, almost completely full, and then a second flatbed truck up with supplies.
Yeah.
That was heartwarming. That was a major undertaking of people. Lots of people came with just 1 or 2 little things. One of my favorite things that we took down there was 50 bags of dog food that the Humane Society donated, because the people's
Careful banging.
Oh, sorry. Because what's going to happen is people will feed their pets before they feed themselves. And so, because what I believe is going to happen down in the Keys is there's gonna be unless you do construction work and capable of doing construction work, there's gonna be some unemployment for a while, because a lot of these businesses are gone.
Oh,
And their
completely.
buildings they're gone, and they're not gonna reopen, they're not gonna see the tourism, they're not gonna
No.
see so there's gonna be a period of time where there's gonna be a lot of suffering, because if you think about Key West, how many people, when you're down there, when we're down there vacationing, you talk to these people work in restaurants, and they work in 2 and 3 restaurants to make
Right.
to make the money they need to survive.
And tips.
Right, and now they're gonna have less people, and then the people that are gonna be down there are gonna, in the Keys for a while, are gonna be construction workers who aren't gonna be out there hitting restaurants having a good time, they're gonna be out there working.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a tough time for some folks.
Well, one of the organized groups that you mentioned was Operation SOS. Ike mentioned that, Ike
Yes.
Crumpler, at our meeting on Tuesday. And you want to talk about Operation SOS?
Yeah, I would, but first I'm gonna just say something. We got down there with the truck, and we had actually gone to a different distribution center that was, I believe, ran by FEMA. And that's where we actually got hooked up
We
with
ran
Cal-
into each
Ran
other.
into
Yeah.
each other.
It was interesting. We're like, oh, Martin County friends. And,
Yeah.
and the group appreciated us because they said, oh my gosh, not only do you bring supplies, but you bring people to unload the truck too. Well, that's a first.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So we get there, and Deb Duvall had actually made contact with them in advance, as did we, through a couple different people. So we had numerous contacts with them. We get there. By the time we got there, they had lost control of the facility. They said they couldn't take not only our stuff, but they were turning away everybody, and they were not offering alternatives. Fortunately, we had prepared for just such an occasion, and we had an alternative, and the alternative was the SOS Foundation, which I think is like Savior of the Sea Foundation, and they're out of Key West, and they are a local partner with the Red Cross. And so the Red Cross, when it comes to taking supplies as donations, only take institutional supplies as donations that are palletized, and it's 200 pallets of bottled water, and 200 pallets of baby food, or 200 pallets of whatever. And so that's what the Red Cross does. But there's always people that are like our community that want to help, and so they partner with local organizations to receive that help. And this was the SOS Foundation, and they were in Key West. They were right next to the Kmart on US 1, if anybody's familiar with that. And they had taken 2 old vacant storefronts. They turned one into a warehouse and one into a pantry. And one of the things they did that was very smart is they know this is a long-term need, so they didn't open up the pantry right away. They wanted to get the donations in, get them sorted, organized, and prepared so that when people came in, they could get them what they needed, and then ration it out so that they could help the maximum number of people. And they were so helpful. Big shout out for them. I've done a little bit of research and found out that they're very well known in Key West, and so I'm really happy that that's where our supplies went, because they were actually going to be opening up satellites in like up north, Big Pine and Marathon as well. So
Wow. Well, that's just it. We want to be careful of scams and schemes. And, people will take advantage in situations like this, so you just have to be careful. And certainly don't answer an email that looks fishy, because they are fish things. But there are actual real places to donate, and the American Red Cross can help, but also Team Rubicon is excellent. They're hands-on. Those are veterans. Love my veterans.
Me too.
Yes. And they are veterans who go to a place of disaster, and they are complete volunteers. So I highly recommend them. But there are a lot of good ones out there. The Realtor Relief Fund, I was very proud to learn about taking care of our realtors across the nation.
Yes.
When any national disaster happens,
Yes.
we are salespeople, and if something happens to what we sell, we have no job.
No product.
No
We have
profit.
nothing to sell.
That's right, we have nothing to sell. So all the realtors in the Keys are out of work.
And we basically work for ourselves.
Yeah, we
we
do.
don't have unemployment.
Right,
and
vacation pay.
No, we don't have any of that.
No.
And we don't have benefits with our job.
No.
Yeah.
No, the benefit is, it's supposedly time is our own, right?
That's
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
that's a joke. That's right.
But I was very proud of that fund
Yeah.
too, and to learn how that works.
Yes, and that the National Association of Realtors donated to it, the Florida Association of Realtors. And, you know, for people who don't know, realtors do have state organizations and then a national organization. And we're a powerful force. We do help homeowners with all kinds of things. And one of the successes we had in this past year was helping to cap the estoppel fee. And that's kind of the stuff, we work with the legislators of each and every state, you know, wherever we live. And in Florida, that was a big problem. Right?
It was a big problem, and the next thing we're gonna be working on, and we've continued to work on, is flood insurance.
Right,
And
and that's
that's a-
huge with this whole
It
issue.
is huge,
Right.
and that's where our PAC money goes to work. So we pay dues, and we pay into our PAC so that we have a voice, not only at the state level, but at the federal level.
Right.
And one of the things we're always working on is to keep that flood insurance as low as possible. And now, after the flooding that was just seen in Florida, or in South Florida, there in the Keys, and, well, Texas as well, you know, we don't know what's gonna happen to that, the National Flood Insurance.
Right, well, they extended it only. Maria Wells
They
is our
did.
president, she was there on Friday.
Yep.
And by the way, quick shout out to Rosie Shepherd, I don't wanna forget, Rosie got the Community Service Award, who also got the runner-up award for Dancing with Martin Stars. Love you, Rosie, good job.
She's been amazing this last year. Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
So Maria's been amazing, though, with her knowledge and her push to continue the NFIP, the National Flood Insurance Program. And
Yes.
that's a huge essential part of all of this,
Yes.
is that if we can't afford our flood insurance, if it goes from $300 a year to $3,000 a year, what does that do to you? You know, or from, I know somebody right now who is paying $3,000 a year, and theirs
Yes.
is likely to double to $6,000 a year. And that's just an onerous amount.
It makes it makes the property unaffordable.
Yes,
It makes
to
it,
sell
and
it.
then that person's trapped in their home.
Right.
You're not gonna get a mortgage without that insurance.
That's
if
right.
The flood insurance is required, and I mean, it's just, the list is endless. It's
It's a
just a snowball effect.
Right.
Bingo.
Bingo. Yeah.
And, we've been working together a long time. too.
You can tell.
Yeah.
And on the flood insurance, unfortunately, the flood insurance and these high premiums hit some of the most economically challenged folks, especially
Yeah.
especially when you get some low-lying areas up in the Midwest and other
Right.
parts of the country.
Right.
But you know, I'm just gonna, if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
just going back to Big Pine.
Yes.
And you've been to Big Pine.
Not in a long time.
Well-
It's where the key
Tavernier.
deer, it's where the key deer
It's
are.
where the
You know,
key
when you
deer-
go
Okay.
look at the key deer,
Mhm.
and it says Key Deer Sanctuary,
Yeah.
that's Big Pine.
Okay.
When you come off the 7 Mile Bridge and you start going into Bahia Honda and Big Pine, there's a black chain link fence that goes on both sides of the road to protect the deer from going on the US 1. And the chain link fence was all gone, but what was so startling is in places where the poles were not, the concrete that the poles are set in wasn't washed away, the poles were just bent over 90 degrees.
Ah.
Just straight up out of the concrete, 90-degree bend. And that just shows how powerful the water
Oh,
was
yeah.
that came through
Well,
there.
it was like a tsunami.
It was, exactly. And it came through, in fact, I was talking to Caroline before the show, and I'm so concerned about the little key deer. I didn't see any. She said she saw one.
I have a picture of one.
And
Oh.
I used to see hundreds when I'd go down there. So it appears from talking with folks, there was 4 to 6 feet of water over the entire Big Pine Key. So
So we helped to, we
Oh.
worked with a lady who had a home, well, it's just had a home in the middle of Big Pine. And when we went there, she had a significant amount of damage to the roof and the side, and there was a lot of mold. So we had to actually wear masks in this home. And all she asked us to do is, can you help me get all my belongings, or as many as you can, out of the first level of the home, which was kind of more garage and semi-apartment. So we all went in there with our masks, and let me tell you, it was rough, and pulled as many things as we could. I mean, you know, most of us were about 50-ish, I say ish. And, you know, it was hard work, you know, lifting all these things and getting them out there, you know, with the mold. And here she is in the middle and had significant flood damage. So if you follow what I'm saying, the point is you're absolutely right, Troy. There was a significant amount of flooding there, and I'm afraid it did affect the key deer. And just to give you one more example of the flooding and how bad it was, one of the homes, the first home we arrived to, there was a large septic tank, which in my industry, we're very familiar with these. We see them
Right.
quite often, you know, where we actually have to, they're uncovered and we get a nice look and smell. But anyway, The septic tank was about, I'd say, 5 to 6 feet long by about 3 feet wide, and it was completely open, and it had, at one time, had a concrete lid, and the whole thing had washed away. So it was right in front of the house, and we were working and walking alongside this, and the stench was very, it was very, very pungent. So Janet, who's our board
Our
CEO and
executive.
president,
She's our executive.
our executive, and it was just wonderful, just lovely, lovely person. It
Yes.
needs a big shout out, Janet O'Brien.
Yes, Janet O'Brien.
And she and I covered that because I don't even think anybody had noticed. You know, they were just so concerned about the house that this was it's dangerous and toxic. And the point is, the flooding was so bad, it just washed the concrete right off the top. And it wasn't that wasn't the only septic system. So when we're down there, these are other problems that they're having, if you can imagine. You know, this is where it makes it somewhat dangerous.
Yeah.
You know.
The water that came through is so powerful that this is why people need to evacuate these areas. But it was so powerful that one of the places somewhere, and I personally didn't see it, but I saw news reports of it. A concrete 3-story condo building. The first 2 floors were completely washed away, and the 3rd floor was sitting on the foundation.
Oh my God.
And so that's the power of this water. And I had not heard about the septic systems, but I can absolutely see the tops of septic tanks being washed away and being sucked out of the ground, especially like the plastic tanks. So
It's unbelievable, and you know.
Well, the raw sewage was significant around there. Significant.
That's the thing. you
Puddles
know.
of it. We were working in that,
Oh.
walking around that. Puddles
No,
of
and
it.
I wanted to review about the things that are still needed, because they still need everything.
Here's one
But
one
go ahead.
food item. So
Okay.
just here's a food item that I found that people really liked, and it is food with pop-off lids.
Okay.
So for example, soups that don't
Okay.
require water because they're all on a boil water alert, so it's hard
That's
to get
right,
water.
right.
So they like the soups that all you have to do is just heat them up.
Candles.
Exactly, and
Pop the top.
Pop the top, and not the kind where you add the water, but that it's just ready
Already
made.
made.
And the other one are the little cans of fruit where you
Oh.
just pull
Ah.
the top off. And so this, and I thought, oh my gosh, what a great idea. And another thing, vinegar. At the supply center where Troy and I ran into each other, they only had two bottles of vinegar left.
Oh
So
my
there was a
gosh.
need for vinegar, and I
I'll write
think
that
that's
down.
something that people maybe forget about.
Because it's a
is
good
vinegar.
cleanser. It's a good cleanser.
Vinegar, bleach.
Bleach.
Bleach is huge because it's trying to clean up the mold. Non-perishable food supplies.
Well, the pop top cans of tuna, even like that, you
Yes.
know.
Chicken, exactly,
Chicken.
where you can kind of eat right from the can. Yeah, you
And
don't
so
have.
pop tops of fruit, soup, and protein. You know, chicken and turkey and whatever you can find. But is there another group going down? I mean, Today.
Realtor Association of Martin County, there was another group that, they formed another group that left today. That's Jennifer Atkinson from Remax of Stuart. They formed a group, and I don't know who's part of that group, but I know it's another wonderful group going down there today
Yeah.
to be of
And
assistance.
one thing you can do is the Realtor Association of Martin County, also Habitat for Humanity. You can contact either one of those organizations. They bonded together to do this and get together. And at the point in time that we were doing this the first time, Fairwind Air Charter and the Hope Sound Chamber, they were gathering supplies. Are they still doing that?
I don't think so. That was for them especially. It was a kind of a limited operation. I know Hope Sound Chamber. I gotta give the Hope Sound Chamber of Commerce. They collected out of the 4 locations they were collecting at. They collected the most stuff, and all they had is their little office. And when we went down there to load it up, you could not. Their office, there was like this long corridor, was packed so full that you couldn't even get back to the back of the office. And I thought, wow. And I thought, and we were going to Habitat for Humanity the next day, and I thought, man, we're not going to be able to get all their stuff in the truck because I figured they'd have even more. You know, they had a big warehouse, but they actually, I think Hope Sound Chamber had more than Habitat, and that amazed me. I'll tell you what, the folks in Hope Sound really came out. But all of the county did. So.
All of Martin County did, and that's what makes us different and special, and thank you very much. And I want to thank my guests tonight who came for the Operation Keys to Recover, which I love that name. I think that's very catchy, and we need to continue to help our neighbors and friends down south. This is going to be a long recovery. It's not a weekend here and a weekend there. It's every weekend, every day. And they're living down there in this. And of course, Puerto Rico is in my heart and in our prayers. And I wish they would get the 7th Fleet over there, big cruise ships, because those
Yeah.
people are desperate. They don't have food or water or gas. They can't get money out of their cash
Right.
machines. There's a line for everything. And they're on an island. At least we have people who could drive to the Keys. And, Houston's still going through what they're going through, and now they're saying, Dallas, please take our trash. It's the aftermath of any storm that is the worst to deal with. And this trash on the side of the roads. And as Bill Dean said, he goes, don't complain that Martin County hasn't picked up your debris yet. When you see what these people have, it's horrendous. So I think we have to count our blessings, but realize we need to share the blessings of what we have. And I want to thank our stars who came also for Dancing with the Martin Stars, Jean Law Scott. That's a great name because she's an attorney. So her name's Jean
Yeah.
Law.
Took a little bit of advanced planning.
Yeah, right? You are what you're named. So her.
She's an amazing dancer.
She
Oh,
is.
She's a natural.
She
Oh my
is.
She is a natural.
Oh my.
Woo.
Not only that, she's
I'm glad
trained.
I'm glad she wasn't competing last year
Right?
against us.
I know, there was no hope for us last year if she did it. But she took a 10, she took a perfect 10 score, so back to a little nice light levity. But she did it for such a good cause. And Dr. Moriarty, you were wonderful. He's so sweet. He has
He's
the
the best.
confidence and the swagger, and he raised the most money, and then she did the best dance, and Rosie was second in fundraising. And so as I mentioned all their names before, and Teena White, thank you for being the board president and continuing to carry on this legacy. Lisa Holland, and also Aubrey Campbell. Take care of yourself, Aubrey. You've got a little baby on board. And see, she's working in the right place, though. She's a Healthy Start. She can get the prenatal care and the postnatal. And just want to say that we have a great show next week. I've got Care Bag coming back with the wrap-up. Their event is coming up quite soon. They're having a gala. And then the week after that, I've got a wonderful group of authors coming in. It's going to be a literary night and theater night because Donna Carbone is the owner of Write for You. She's a published author, screen and stage. And Starstruck Theater, Michael Ponte, a friend of ours, will be here. They're doing a huge raise money to keep the roof on kind of thing. Yeah, we
Very
need to
nice.
help them.
Yep.
And then that's on the 11th, and then the 18th, Friends in Pink. And that's a wonderful organization local here in Martin County that assists breast cancer survivors, men and women, when they are underinsured or not insured at all. And our Women's Council of Realtors, we have a world famous purse auction, and we donate the net proceeds to them. And the Treasure Coast Children's Museum, and that's all coming up in the next few weeks. So tune in next week for Care Bag. And again, thank you, Frank.
You're always welcome.
And thank you, Richard, for helping my darling husband. And thank you, listeners out there. You're a wonderful audience. Please share the show. It'll be on YouTube and iTunes. And thank you, Troy. Thank you, Caroline.
It's a pleasure to see both you guys.
Absolutely. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. So good night, everybody. See you next
Good night.
week.
Big show, Coley Emmy Awards.
I have Catch the Wave of Oman.
Right.
Yeah, I have. We've already had